all of this new wealth, all of this new investment, all of this gentrification and revitalization and real estate coming in and the booming property value. It's not that all of that is just occurring alongside this insecurity. There is a causal relationship between them. One is actually fueling the other. And I think that it was just shocking to me that the very people whose labor, whose work is powering this growth, whose work, whose labor, is making it possible for our kids to have a place to go after school, for our elders to have home health aides, and all of that those very people whose work and labor is making all of this success possible, that they really are the casualties of this success. They are the victims of this revitalization, and it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be a zero-sum game of either development or destitution. It doesn't have to be either revitalization or displacement. But that is our status quo, and that is why the title of the book, There Is No Place for Us, which comes from Brit, after she has a housing voucher that ends up expiring because she can't find a single landlord in this booming rental market who will accept it, right? Because housing vouchers work much better in the sort of hollowed out urban core, where it isn't a hot rental market, where landlords have more of a financial incentive to take them. But in a booming rental market like Atlanta's, there's very little incentive. So her voucher expires before it can be used. The same year that her voucher expires, about 1,700 families in Atlanta received a voucher that year, and over 1,100 expired before they could be used. So Brett loses her voucher. She ends up in a low-income housing tax credit property, which feels miraculous. Lo and behold, the owner of that property has exploited a little-known loophole called the qualified contract, which allowed him to sell it and redevelop the property prematurely to get out of the 30-year affordability requirement. Britt and all of her neighbors are evicted en masse, and the property is torn down. Months later, Britt returns to the site, and there's already a beer garden that has appeared across the street. There's a beautiful new apartment complex next door, and Britt is looking around and she says, "Wow, this place will be really nice when it's done." And then it's like she catches herself. She remembers her own situation, that she is now homeless with her children, and she says, "But for me and my kids, there's no place for us here." And There Is No Place for Us again is not just an Atlanta title. It is increasingly an American title.